This is another edition of the Dolphin Dive, exclusive to our multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne College through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. No stranger to the broadcast, Callum Donnelly, the head coach of the LeMoyne Dolphins men's soccer team, celebrating your first victory. It was right there. We could feel it coming through. And now we got that 3-2 victory on the road, so congratulations first and foremost.
Thank you very much. Oh, it's a good feeling to go into the week with a win, so much better than a loss or a draw.
What can you say about the work to get to that point, to get to that victory? Because it's not just one game where you got the win. This team has been steadily moving toward it. So just go into that journey a bit there and how you got there.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey since pre-season. We've just been trying to reiterate to the guys just to continue improving every single day, and the boys are taking that on board. And it's been, as I said, it's been a long time coming for the win. We've been working extremely hard. I felt we've been slightly unlucky in some games, but again, we just reiterate with the guys, if we continue to work hard, things will fall our way, and I felt that happened on Sunday with a big conference win.
And getting that conference win, not only, so there's a lot of history. First ever win as a Division I program. First ever win in the Northeast Conference. First ever road win in the Northeast Conference up against a Central Connecticut State. First ever road win as a D1 program, and your first win as a head coach. Few things happen.
The most important is the first four things. I'm not worried about my win as a head coach. I worry about the guys getting off to the start, and as I said, it's been a long time coming. I'm just so happy for the guys. I'm so proud of them for continuing to work hard and believing in themselves as a group. And again, it's just a great feeling to go off with a win, but it's just a win. We have to move forward. We have to look forward to Fairleigh Dickinson and take the win in that game and have the confidence to go and get another one.
What did you take away from the non-conference play and the level of competition that you had, and what that maybe has done to get you prepared for the NEC?
Yeah, I think, as I said, I think every single game's been really difficult. We've had loads of good opposition. We started with Penn State. It was a really difficult task, but I think I don't regret playing them in the first game, because I think it's given us so much understanding of the level and what we're going to come up against. There's so many good teams at Division I. I feel we haven't had one easy game yet, and I don't think we're ever going to get an easy game at this level. So, but it's been good. As I said, it's helped us prepare for this moment where we maybe didn't get the win we wanted to against Stonehill. We drew the game, but we didn't lose it. And then going into Central Connecticut State, we knew it was a big game for us to go and try and put on a performance, and I felt we did that in pieces. I think we can still improve in a lot of aspects of the game, but I was really happy to get the 3 points.
So, looking at, like you said, getting those 3 points in conference, how important that is. A draw will give you 1, a win will give you 3. When you look at the NEC and you look at how many teams advance from the teams that are there within the conference, just what you could say about how you kind of focus and attack. I know you, as a coach, you want to win every single game, but understanding the point system and the tactical presence that you can have now in the NEC, knowing that the postseason is a possibility, just how you kind of look at all of that.
Yeah, I think, as I said, all I look at is really one game at a time, and can we go in and get a result out of that game is the most important thing. And obviously there's all the teams are really competitive, and I was talking to the Central Connecticut State coaches, like every league game is like, it's like the last game of the season. It's a real big battle, it's intense, so it's just about preparing for those games and making sure the guys know what we're going into every single match that we do, and executing the game plan as best as we can, and hopefully if we do that, we'll pick up some results along the way.
And when you have where you kind of are at this point in the season, what have been your happiest moments or your proudest moments of the student athletes out there on the field?
Look, I think obviously to get our first win was a big moment. Me and the assistants were talking in the office is we've deserved more happy moments in the season just through our work, and listen, it's such a low-scoring sport in soccer. It happens where you maybe don't receive as many highs in the season as you do lows or learning points. So it's just about enjoying those moments, not overly enjoying it. But as I said, we have to take credit for the work we put in, and I'm really happy for the guys that they got to earn that win, because as I said, they've been working so hard. So those are the moments, and maybe just stepping out at Penn State, knowing how much work the guys put into it, how they were fighting for each other all the way at the very end, even though we lost 4-0, it was just the work rate continually right from minute 1 to 90. Those are just proud moments as a coach that maybe the guys don't understand, but we as staff really appreciate it whenever we're working so hard for each other.
And all those little things that you're working on in practice, when a win doesn't come through or maybe it ends in a draw, are you able to go back to that film and see these are the things we worked on in practice, this is what we told the guys to do, and we're watching these pieces come to fruition where it may not show up in the win-loss column on the win side, but we're seeing little things, be it footwork, be it positioning, be it, you know, how you're going to handle a cross or whatever it may be. Are you seeing some of the things that you're trying to teach come through that eventually, you know, in the long run are going to pay off?
Yeah, and I think like the message we're sending to the guys every single day is or after a game is I'll look at myself first. You know, that I think that's really important. Like if maybe I've something's gone wrong in the game, I look at myself first before anyone else, and I think the whole group collectively has to have that attitude rather than pointing fingers, because I think if you look at yourself first, you can try to open up things that maybe you should have worked on, maybe you should have got better at, and then it's a collective unit from after that. So I think it's been those moments just to try and keep the guys focused on one game at a time. And listen, we're not always going to get things perfect. The guys are not always going to get things perfect. But I think as long as we're trying to implement the things that we're doing in training, then we'll give ourselves the best chance of getting a result.
Offensive style so far this season, what do you like about your scheming and maybe some things that you've seen the team do?
I think I've been happy the last 4 or 5 games that we've created a good number of chances. We've actually been scoring a fair number of goals as well. I like to see us collectively as a unit defend better and make sure we're trying to aim for some clean sheets. So while there have been high scoring games, I've been happy with our output. I've also been disappointed with some of the goals that we've lost, and I think that's an area we can get better at, we can improve. But as I said, I think the progress from minute 1 in pre-season to now is especially attack-wise, we've been looking a lot more threatening, and long may it continue whilst also being a bit more secure at the back.
This season for you, taking over and having the interim tag, but being this team's head coach, what have you learned about yourself? How have you grown? How have you advanced your abilities, knowing that you're the leader at a time that'll never happen twice, which is the first season in Division 1?
I think it's on me first to make sure I'm always being positive for the guys, make sure that, listen, if we obviously defeats and draws will upset me, but as I said, I've got to look at myself first, see where I can learn. It's been such a big learning curve for me as a coach and as a person as well. But I wouldn't change it for the world. All the low times that we've had as a unit, they'll only make us stronger if we continue to have that, one training session, one game at a time mentality is really important for me. And it's the same with my job. I don't look too far in the future. I try and give everything I can on a daily basis and help the guys out. That's my main focus. I don't really look too much on myself for that.
What's been fun?
Yeah, it's been fun, but as any coach will tell you, it's stressful as well, because you're trying to make sure there's so many unknowns coming at the job, but it's been great. I wouldn't change it for the world. I love the sport. I love what the boys give me every single day, and I wouldn't change that for anything.
Final note here from the LeMoyne Dolphins men's soccer head coach Callum Donnelly in this edition of Dolphin Dive on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. People go through adversity all the time. You go through it on the field, you go through it in practice. Sometimes we go through it just sitting in the house trying to talk through things. What would be your advice to somebody going through adversity, be it on a soccer field, in an office, or anywhere? What would you say to someone going through adversity?
I think you can learn from any bad situation. Any tough time that you go through, you can learn from it. You can help yourself improve in any walk of life, whether it's through sports, whether it's through you work in a bank, any type of job. You're having bad days, you can learn from it and improve on, and learn what you maybe shouldn't do, learn what you should do. So I think there's so many tough times that I look back on in my life that at the time when you're going through it, you're maybe thinking, why aren't things changing? But if you continue to persevere and do the right things won't take a turn, and and then you'll get the right rewards towards the end of it.
Callum, Donnelly here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. As always, we appreciate you watching and listening to all of our content with the LeMoyne Dolphins and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Hopefully, between the two of us, you could understand my accent today. Thanks, Callum.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Tortora here for another edition of the Dolphin Dive in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the LeMoyne College Dolphins on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. I'm here with representing LeMoyne Dolphins men's soccer, Ziad Abdul-Malak, and happy to have you here, Z. Appreciate you as always.
Thank you, brother.
And so I've been appreciating the team, watching the team from afar. I know you guys have had a lot of road games this season, and you just came off your first victory also on the road. So first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of road games. I think just adjusted to D1, playing new teams, but we've been having fun, and yeah, good to get the first win.
You were out last season due to injury, right? And you had the opportunity to come in this season. When you had to wait your turn and go through something that's out of your control and kind of nurse yourself back, how did you handle that time? Because we talk about mental health and the importance of it. How did you get through all of that?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. I've never really had to sit out for that long in a season before, but the way I handled it, just staying with your teammates, staying connected, a lot of support from the coaching staff, making sure I was involved in different stuff that was going on, but having good relationships with your teammates, it goes a long way, and obviously they know what you're going through, so they understand, and just talking with them, not being afraid to share your emotions, it made the whole process a little easier.
What can you say your teammates kind of gave you advice-wise, or how they helped you get through it? Like you said, to not be afraid to share your emotions. What are some of the things that you took from when you did have those opportunities to sit with your team and be emotional and talk about what you were going through?
They just supported me. Some guys that I knew went through long-term injuries as well. I would often ask them questions like how maybe their rehab, like how they would do on the sidelines, what they would see on the field, like how they went through it, and then try to implement those kind of strategies. But like I said, like it was just, I know a lot of guys who went through those injuries and had to do it, so I feel like having those mentors, it just made it a lot easier getting through that.
And having that mentorship, do you have someone that sticks out especially from the team?
Yeah, I'd say our captain, Brett Stern. I know he went through a couple ACL injuries, which is what I was going through, and he had to sit through some seasons because of that, so I knew that he would know firsthand all about that. So I would go to him, talk to him, how he went through it, and then take some of those pointers. But he was definitely a big vocal presence for me.
So you're on the field this season, just so happens to be a jump, no big deal, from D2 to D1. How have you handled that transition?
I feel like I always knew, like, ourselves as a team, we were better than, I wouldn't say we were like a D2 team. I feel like we always knew we were a good team, so it's definitely some challenges playing. I mean, obviously there's better players, bigger teams, bigger schools, but I feel like we've adjusted well. I feel like in the NE10, the level that we were playing against, they were high level as well, so I feel like the level of teams we're playing against, it's not a huge jump. I think it's prepared us well for that, so I think we've had a good transition into it with the type of teams we're playing against.
And coming off of that first victory and getting to experience that, there's a lot of things that happened that day. It was the first win for LeMoyne men's soccer in Division I, first road win in Division I, first road win in the NEC, and first overall win in the NEC. And it was your coach, Callum Donnelly's first win as a head coach.
Right.
When you put all of that together into one game, that 3-2 victory over Central Connecticut State, what did that moment feel like, and have you taken the time to reflect on it?
I mean, it meant so much. We've been dying for a win. We've had a lot of draws this season, and of course we wanted to do it for our coach because he cares so much about this program and he invests so much time and effort into it. We just wanted to give that back to him, and I know he felt relieved at the full-time whistle when we were able to celebrate. But haven't really had to reflect too much time because got another game. That's how it goes. Just another game the next day. So we got another game Thursday, but it was definitely a lot of weight off our shoulders. I know we've been hoping for that win for a while, but it definitely felt good to get that first win.
Even though that's the one that shows up in the win-loss column as a victory, what has this team been doing throughout these last few weeks that you think have been little wins that you're building off of?
I think we've just been getting closer as a team, just gelling together. I felt like maybe at the start, because we had a good amount of new guys coming in, I feel like at the start it was a bit shaky trying to get everyone to buy into the team, but I feel like as time has gone on and we've gotten some guys come back from injuries as well, I feel like we've really started to gel a little more, and I think we're just getting healthy and getting together at the right time, and hopefully it'll work to make a push towards the playoffs as the season goes on.
And that non-conference play, you started it off against Penn State on the road in University Park. Coach said he doesn't regret the fact that you guys played that game. It was a 4-0 loss, but he thought that it was great to play up against that talent and the other talent you've had non-conference. How does the non-conference this season set you up for the NEC, where you feel like you can have a push toward the postseason?
Yeah, I feel like it definitely shows us the outside competition from our conference and shows that we can play with those teams. I mean, we had tough games against like Delaware and Monmouth. I mean, with Delaware, we came away with a tie, and they were a really good team. So it was a big result for us, even though we didn't win. But I feel like that really showed us that we can play with any of these guys, just because we're a small like a school coming from D2 in Syracuse. I feel like not a lot of people would give us any recognition, but I feel like with those results, the tie, obviously Monmouth was a loss, but the Delaware tie, I feel like they kind of showed us, all right, we can play with these guys, and we're not just like the new kids on the block, and we can do something.
Your teammate, I'm going to be speaking with in a couple minutes here, Michael Sparks. Tell me something about him that we don't know.
Jeez.
Well, he stares at you.
He loves to sing. He's a singer.
Loves to sing?
Yeah.
Is he good?
I think you'll have to ask him that.
All right, yeah, okay. Well, we're going to do a thing called Rapid Fire, which gets to put each other on the hot seat. It's not anything that's pre-planned. We don't know the questions that are coming, but it gives me an opportunity to get to know you and people watching and listening the same, and you get to put me on the hot seat as well. You get to ask the first question.
Anything?
Anything in the world.
Who's your favorite LeMoyne team?
That is not fair. I would have mulliganed now. No, I honestly, I don't think I could pick a team, and I'm not saying that politically. I'm saying I've had the opportunity to come out to so many different games and matches, and there's different teams that are evolving in different ways, right? Some are going through coaching changes, some are coming off of injuries, some have a short bench, some have a lot of reserves that they can go to. So I think you're all kind of experiencing things differently, but then similarly, you're all in D1 together. So I think when I wear my LeMoyne D1 shirt, I know I'm not wearing it for a specific team, so I don't think I could choose. Now, if you're asking me to choose which team in Syracuse I lean on, I'm in green and gold, is what I would say.
There you go. That's all I needed.
My first question for you is, who's your favorite broadcaster?
Yeah. I guess I go Dan Tortora.
He guesses he goes Dan Tortora. All right, no, I did that as a joke coming back. My first one is really going to be favorite, you talked about music, so favorite piece of music. If you picked one song that you had to listen to every game.
Every game.
Every single game.
I'll just go Devil in a New Dress by Kanye West. It's not really a hype song, but it just calms me down, just gets me ready, just cools the nerves a little bit.
All right, I like it. Can respect it. What's your second question?
Second question, I'll go. Do you want like more soccer related?
Anything you want. Could be food, could be music, could be movies, could be soccer.
What would be your death row meal?
My death row meal. Well, I'm Italian and Hispanic, so I'm gonna milk that for a long time. We're gonna have my homemade nachos, my mom's monogot, my grandma's stuffed shells, my other grandma's chicken noodle soup. What else? What do we do? And my mom's Italian wedding soup. My grandma's rigot pie. I would do everything in my power to make the meal last as long as it could, to hope that my escape plan would work. So that's what I would do. All right, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, for every meal, what would it be, and why?
I'd probably go, I mean, it's kind of broad, but chicken, but I just mix it up in different ways, like wings and other stuff, fried chicken, I don't know, I just mix it up. Just chicken as a broad statement, but picking apart in different ways.
So chicken, because you can do a lot of different things.
Right.
All right. Last question for me.
I'll go. Who's your favorite artist of all time?
Musically?
Yes. That's tough.
I would probably have to say, if I had to pick, because I've also sang my whole life since I was 3, be Boyz II Men. Because I don't think anybody does it better than Wanye Morris. So probably have to say Boyz II Men.
I like that choice.
All right, my last one for you, Z. If you had to wear on the back of your jersey, instead of your name, there was a statement, what would the statement say and why?
That's a good question.
It's a great question.
Watch Wake Up Call.
That was probably gonna be the second choice.
I'm gonna have to come back at you for that because the first question you gave me.
Yeah. Well, it is a good question. Never thought of it. I'll probably just say I like to think about like perseverance often.
Okay.
Definitely a lot. Like during my injury in the rehab, I feel like I thought about that a lot. Just keep going, just one day at a time. So I feel like that's probably where that probably sticks a lot with me.
All right. Well, that coming from Ziad Abdul-Malak. Z, I appreciate you. Appreciate your time, and we'll be back with your teammate in just a moment. This is Dan Tortora here for another edition of the Dolphin Dive, exclusive in our multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne College and the Dolphins here on Wake Up Call and through Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. I'm here once again with LeMoyne Dolphins men's soccer, Michael Sparks. Appreciate you being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Now, you've had an interesting go at it. I spoke with your teammate Z, who was out last season due to injury. You're currently out right now.
Yeah.
So you've experienced this transition to D1 from the sidelines.
Yes.
What's that been like for you?
I mean, it's been difficult because, you know, being back home and hearing about going D1 was obviously exciting, and it was always something I wanted to be a part of. So when I came back in and got injured in the first 2 or 3 days, it was disappointing, but, you know, it's been great to watch the boys, and I'm just trying to look at it positively right now, and the boys have been doing great. They've not gave up and been really resilient. So, you know, it's been a pleasure to watch them on the sideline so far. So it's been good.
What have been the biggest kind of growing moments for this team that you've seen from game one to now, when you're watching from the sideline and essentially watching kind of through a coach's perspective?
Yeah.
What are you seeing as you pick apart some of these games from the beginning to where they are right now?
Well, I think it's always difficult at the start of the season because there's a lot of new guys coming in.
Yeah.
And especially with the transition from D2 to D1, that was always going to be harder. But we've got a new team, so we kind of need time to gel together. The pre-seasons aren't long at all in America. But I think, you know, as the games went on, you could steadily see that we were getting better and better. We had a first game against Penn State, which, you know, was a great opener, a great experience, but, you know, you want to play against the best teams, and I thought that was actually a good thing that we got them out of the way early on in the season. But kind of what you're saying, I think as time went on and we've got more used to each other, people have become more friendly off the pitch as well as on the pitch. People have started performing really, really well.
Callum Donnelly played on this team, was an assistant coach, obviously most recently involved in, you know, recruiting and helping find the right pieces. When you get the news that Tom Bonus is stepping away and Callum's taking over, what was that like for you to hear that?
I mean, I was delighted for Cal. You know, he's been at the programme for a while now. I know how intense he is and passionate he is about football. So, you know, when I heard that news, immediately I just texted Cal and said, you know, well done, you know, this is your chance now. And I was really happy for him. I know he knows what he's talking about, and I think it's always better when you've got a manager that you can tell actually cares, and he really does. So, no, I think everyone was pleased that Cal got that role.
What has he done in stepping from assistant to head coach that you've been able to see as he evolves as a coach? What have you seen?
He's a little bit more angry now than he was before. But no, I can see him, you know, I think it's different when you're an assistant coach, because sometimes maybe you can't say the things you want to say or take charge because there's a head in front of you. I think he's always had ideas that he's wanted to implement, and now he's implementing them now. And we've also got Casey, who's came in to the team, and he's been really good. But you know, the mix of those two have been great, and you know, tactically, I know Cal is big on that. So yeah, he's been great in that sense.
Casey Murphy, as you talked about, the assistant coach, he came on the show here recently as well. What's the dynamic like when now that you've spent the season on the sideline so far with Casey and with Callum? What do you take away from those guys together?
Oh, they're funny. They're funny to watch on the side. Cal's a little bit more intense. Casey's a little bit more laid back. He likes to have a little bit of banter here and there. But yeah, I can think like the last game when we got our first win, and I saw them both hugging each other after the game, and they were ecstatic. I just felt great for them, you know, because it'd been a long time coming, and finally when it got there, I could tell those two were both buzzing, you know. But they're two really good guys, real good guys.
For you to get back onto the field, what is your hopeful timetable as you watch this season kind of tick away?
Yeah.
What are you hoping to get to?
Well, I'd hope to be back as soon as possible. I think we've got 7 games left, including the one that's coming up in the next couple of days. So I want to get back now. I'm kind of past my rehab stage, and I'm feeling better. So, you know, God willing, I come back out in the pitch and everything's okay.
You look at that non-conference play, and you obviously can learn from it, but your season essentially starts again when you go into the conference in the NEC, and knowing that your points can help you get into the postseason.
Yeah.
What is the hope now that you've seen this team go through everything they've gone through non-conference wise and a few of these NEC games? How do you feel about the NEC and about what could be as you look to gain points as a team?
I think we just need to focus, and we've done this the whole season, you know, despite results, just focus on the game in hand. Doesn't matter if it's in conference, out of conference. The teams we've came up against all kind of bring a different level of you know, maybe flair or, you know, tactics or fitness. You know, not every team's the same. But I think now that we've got that win behind us, we just need to build on that momentum and not get complacent, and you know, actually almost kind of put the win behind us, if you know what I mean, and focus again like we've not won a game. You know, I think every game's just as important as the next one, and yeah, win as much as possible. That's the aim.
I'm looking at a tattoo that I'm seeing right here. So the one that's on your arm here.
Yep.
And so it's a passage. And so why did you choose this passage where it says, "The Lord is on my side, I will not fear. What can man do to me?" Just why you chose to put that on it.
I got that a long time ago when I was 17, 18, and it was always kind of something that resonated with me. Certainly that passage in particular, and just thought, why not get it on my forearm and remind myself every single day.
I have to ask you this before rapid fire because it's something that I've attempted to do. I think I did successfully one time. I have coached soccer. I did U12,
Right.
and I dated a girl back in college who was a fantastic outside man.
Right.
So her whole family played, 2 girls, 2 guys. So they brought me outside one day and they were teaching me how to do headers.
Right.
I don't care how they tell you to hit it. They always say, no, if you hit it in the right spot in your head, it doesn't hurt. It hurt every time. The one time that I scored, it hurt like heck, and I tried to pretend like it didn't.
Yeah.
Is there a proper way to do a header where you don't feel like you just got punched in the head?
I don't know, I guess it's based on technique. I've certainly had a few headers that hurt the next morning.
Yeah.
Some of them don't feel as bad. It depends who's playing the ball in. If it's Benny, who plays it in 90 miles per hour, it'll probably hurt your head. But you know, if there's a little winger like Felix and you're just tapping in there, then it'll be alright. You know?
Well, that's the thing too, is you have the height. So I figure at certain points when everybody's stacking the box, they might look to you.
I mean, they definitely should, but they don't usually, so it's a bit strange, but...
We'll have to fix that when you come back.
Yeah.
So before we jump out of here, we're going to play rapid fire with Michael Sparks of the LeMoyne Dolphins men's soccer team on Wake Up Call. You get to go first. You watch Z do it, so you know what it's all about. 3 questions apiece whenever you're ready.
Okay. I was preparing my first question over that.
Okay.
Favorite TV series?
Favorite TV series? As a kid and probably all time, Boy Meets World. One that I watched last night that I continue to watch over, even though I finished it, is Ted Lasso.
Okay, I like that one.
And I auditioned for this one, so I'm going to mention this one. Never thought I would audition for a reality show, but I did. His big brother. I do like Big Brother.
You like Big Brother?
Yeah, I do like Big Brother.
Is it an American Big Brother too?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I watched the UK one, like, growing up a little bit, but
Yeah.
I was very, very surprised you said that.
Yeah, like it's just different. I'm not a liar though. I'm not somebody. I would have to like withhold truth.
Okay.
Or I'd have to end conversations early because if I lied, I would like pull them right back in and be like, hey, I'm sorry, I said this, I didn't mean that. So I feel like the lying part not fun, but the game kind of like scheming and the technical stuff as well as like the physical and the conversation piece, I think would be fun.
I see what you're saying.
Just to see how it goes.
I see what you're saying.
All right. Well, I'm going to go off of that. If I could put you on a reality show, Michael, what reality show would I put you on where you feel like you would be successful?
Reality show.
Reality show.
I was going to say Love Island, but don't usually have that much luck in that department. Maybe something like Below Deck.
Below Deck. Okay. I do know this show.
It seems quite. I know Scott Peterson loves it, and it's quite entertaining. Out in the water, quite like being out in the water. I think it'd be a good time. Maybe something like that.
Below Deck. It's not a bad show. It's a pretty good show.
Yeah. I've only seen a few episodes. I get the concept of it, but
yeah,
I'm not sure.
Okay, not a bad choice. What's your second one for me?
My second one would be, if you could get someone to play you in a movie, who would it be?
Well, I've been told I look like certain people, and I don't feel like I look like them at all. In Jarhead, they said Jake Gyllenhaal and I had the same shaved head and beard. I got Colin Farrell before.
That's not bad, sure.
But one of the guys from the band The Wanted looks exactly like my face, but he has blue eyes. And I never thought someone could look that. And my buddy, I came into the house one day, it was the weirdest thing. I was down in Kissimmee, and I used to live with a couple of my buddies, so I came down to visit. He's in the dark watching TV, and he's watching The Wanted. He pauses it, and he goes, bro, go stand by the TV right now. And I was like, hello? Like, I had my bags, I had just gotten there. I went over and I stood next to it, and it was my face and this guy's face, and I will honestly say that with an English accent, we're the same face, which is pretty crazy. Okay. So I probably have to say he'd have to play me.
I'm going to Google him tonight. I don't know who you're talking about, but...
Yeah, I don't know his name, I just know he's in The Wanted.
Okay.
So,
I should recognize him then.
Yeah.
He's looking like you.
Alright. Let me see here. Musically, you heard Z talk about this. I'm going to go the opposite. What's one song that if your team chose for you to come out to, you would know that it was a prank and you'd be really upset?
Like annoyed that they were doing it?
Yeah, annoyed that they used this song.
There's loads of these. There's loads of these.
I got mine. Mine's easy.
Like if they played the song, I'd be like, why are you doing this?
If you're running out,
they know I hate it.
Yeah,
or
you're running out onto the pitch, and the song comes on over the speaker.
Probably God Save the Queen.
God Save the Queen.
A Rangers song. Yeah, I would definitely wouldn't sing that, never.
Okay, God Save the Queen. All right, fair enough. What's your
I got
last?
a little bit political there, but I didn't mean it to. But like.
No, I mean, our president said that at the end of his speech, and it had nothing to do with the speech. So. Interesting. But what's your final question for me?
My final question will be, let me think of a good one. If you're going into a gas station, about 1 AM at night, starving, you've got $10 to your name. What are you buying?
Oh, $10 to my name in a gas station at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Big Cliffs down the road.
Okay. All right. I'm probably getting... I'm not getting any of the sandwiches. I don't know how long they've been there. Okay. So probably getting Pop-Tarts.
Right.
Chex Mix. That's going to run me, what, like $6? So Pop-Tarts, Chex Mix, and maybe like a granola bar or some type of like fruit bar, Nutri-Grain, something like that. Something that like resembles food.
Sounds tremendous.
All right. All right, my final question for you, Michael. What is the best nickname that someone's ever given you?
I mean, Sparksy's my nickname.
Sparksy.
And I've kind of been called that. Everyone calls me that, really. It's rare for people to actually call me Michael unless they're like my mum and dad.
Okay.
But yeah, Sparksy, that's kind of what I've had that since I was like 7 or 8. It's just stuck now.
Are you good with it? You want to keep Sparksy forever?
I like it. I don't mind it.
All right.
I don't mind it.
Well, that coming from Michael Sparksy Sparks and Dan Tortora here for this edition of Dolphin Dive. come out and support LeMoyne Dolphins men's soccer on the pitch and all of the sports here at LeMoyne. We appreciate you for watching. We'll talk with you soon. Thanks, Michael.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, located for you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open 7 days a week. Your premier sports card shop is available to you 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Make sure you make your way out to GG Cards and Breaks for singles as well as slabs, which are the graded cards that they already have there for you set and ready to go, as well as packs and boxes. We've done a ton of box breaks with GG Cards and Breaks. Under promise, over deliver. I think at this point we were supposed to do 4 videos, and we've done over 20 because I love the hobby. I love making new memories, and fantastic people like Josh and Anthony, Joel, and Alex all make it worth it when you head over to GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. They also have Pokemon, Disney Lorcana, and so many great things coming in daily and weekly. So make sure you make your way over there. It's baseball postseason, and there's a bunch of autos, rookie patch autos, and Bowman first and whatnot that you can go and get over at GG Cards and Breaks while supplies last, as well as on the football side with Illumination, which we just did a box break on, that comes with every single box having 2 autos, as well as cards that are numbered down to 1 of 1s. I got a 3 of 3 yesterday, so make sure you get yourself over to GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. With that being said, I am honored and privileged, as always, to have this gentleman on the broadcast with me. I know he's going to laugh when I say gentleman, probably, but Danny Thome here with me on the broadcast, DMT squared. He's Daniel Michael. I'm Daniel Michael. Our last names both start with a T, and we had a great night last night and got to go to sleep with a victory. My Arizona Diamondbacks pulling off a win in Game 1, and his Philadelphia Phillies doing the same thing. So we are here to speak on the D-backs, the Phillies, and Major League Baseball's wild card round with Danny Thome, the owner of the Wildcat Sports Pub, who we are working with now in our 8th year with the Wildcat. So, Danny, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. You know that I'm feeling well. I'm doing well as long as, we're doing what we need to be doing. We're winning the games that, are in front of us, and there's one more to go. What I'm happy about, and you and I talked about this months ago, is you said, this was probably 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago, you said if the Phillies and the Diamondbacks make it and they play each other, we'll go. And what I'm really excited about is last night I saw a Phillies win and a Diamondbacks win, and they didn't affect each other. So congratulations on both of our teams last night.
Yeah, last night was, I I know it's just the first round of the playoffs. I think the Phillies have some expectations this year, and expectations can never be a good thing. Yeah. So last year, their miraculous run to the series, nobody had them going to the World Series. Nobody had them getting past the Braves or even then the Padres. This year, the Marlins scare the heck out of me because, the Marlins aren't supposed to be there. And last night was great to see the crowd in Philadelphia screaming, yelling, 42,000 people. I wish I were there. I wasn't. I did make a new friend last night at the restaurant that I was at watching the game. And of all things in the world, it's me and my son and this one guy sitting at a bar, and this one guy was a diehard Phillies fan. Yeah. Never met him before, from Binghamton, New York. So it was a good time to hang out with a fellow Phillies fan last night and watch them win.
Yeah, and you've been how many years can we put together here that you've been a Phillies fan?
I've been a Phillies fan since, I'm going to say 1983, 1984.
Okay.
So that's, what's that, 40 years?
Yeah, so
40 years?
So you've been a Phillies fan since before I was born.
Yes, you're a lot younger than me.
So, and I've been a Diamondbacks fan since day zero, since they came into the league in 1990s. Yeah. When they came in 97, I was 12 years old, 11 going on 12.
Okay.
So, yeah. Not too much, Danny. You don't show it. That's the good part of it. You don't show it. So how this season shook out, there's a lot of questions that I put out there to people, and I want to pose these questions to you and get your thoughts. In the American League, Garrett Cole, is he the runaway Cy Young, in your opinion? If you were sitting there voting today, was there anybody in the American League that was a better pitcher than Garrett Cole?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say no. I think he's a lock for the Cy Young. I think Shohei's a lock for the AL MVP. I think the Rookie of the Year, everything I'm seeing. I don't watch a ton of American League baseball, but Hunter Henderson for the Orioles, really good year. So that's probably the three award winners, the big award winners for the American League.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
And then on the National League side, I had posed 4 different potential NL Cy Young award winners, and I wanted to get your take on this. I had Blake Snell of the Padres out there. I had Zach Gallen of the D-backs. I had Spencer Strider of the Braves, and I also had one more guy. It was, oh man, and I'm going to forget it, but it was one of the Cubs guys, the Cubs ace that I had out there. So I had, I believe, Justin of the Cubs. I had him out there for it as well. So do you have, of those 4, that Justin Steele? So of Steele, Strider, Gallen, and Snell, if you had to pick for National League Cy Young, who would you pick this year?
I have to pick from those 4. I can't pick Zach Wheeler. Is that what you're telling me?
You can pick Zach Wheeler if you want to. I actually had somebody write in Zach Wheeler, so.
Yeah, I don't think Zach Wheeler is going to win the Cy Young. He's a heck of a starting pitcher, especially last night. Strider, he's the Braves. They got a lot of accolades this year. I know the voting closes before the playoffs. Players don't really matter for the voting. I'd have to go with Strider, I think. As much as it pains me to go with a Brave, I think I just think what he did this year was amazing, and they got such a good team that I'm sure they're going to get a lot of postseason accolades.
So then let me throw this one your way then. Between the Yankees and the Mets, who in your opinion had the worst season based on expectation?
I like to say the Mets. I'm gonna say the Mets, and I just think it's because they won 100 games last year, right? Or they got to whatever 99, whatever they got to last year. I know they lost the NL East in the last weekend of the year last year. The Yankees, they laid an egg in the ALCS last year. I don't know. The Yankees always have, I don't know. That's tough. They both spent a ton of money. I'm going to go with the Mets just because they're in the same division as the Phillies, and I'm sure there's a lot of Mets lovers out there listening to you, but I'm sure they hate my Phillies as much as I hate their Mets. So I'm gonna go with the Mets on that. We'll see what happens. I think getting rid of Buck Showalter was a horrible move. I think they did a good thing at the trade deadline by getting rid of Verlander and Scherzer. I think that was a smart move. I think they got a ton of good prospects, Acuna's little brother. But then they fired Buck. I don't get that move. I don't get it. Like, who are you going to bring in? Yeah. I mean, there's talk to Craig Counsell. He's without a contract after this year in Milwaukee. Okay, you bring him in. Okay. Other than that, who is there? And that's the thing that I don't really understand the reason behind it. I guess Alonso was incredibly upset that Buck got let go. So we'll see. I'm going to go with the Mets to answer your question, buddy.
Yeah, and I would agree too, because I think the Yankees, obviously they've been up and down over these last few seasons, and they haven't had the wow season in these last few years, and so I think the expectations maybe, obviously Yankee fans, like Duke fans or like Cowboy fans, every single year it's like, hey, we're winning a championship, but has it been realistic to say that about the Yankees in recent history? I would say no. So, I think the Mets really came into the season, and I would agree with you based on the fact that the Mets came in with a lot of hype, right? People thought bare minimum the Mets were going to make the playoffs, if not have a run at the World Series, and they just outrageously underperformed this season. And I think that, that's obviously something that they're going to have to figure out. Changing, your leadership amidst all of this could actually put them behind the 8 ball even more going into 2024. So I would agree with you that I don't necessarily agree with that move as well. But within your division, you have the Marlins, who have found their way into the postseason. You have the Nationals, who underperformed. You have the Mets, who underperformed. You have the Braves, who just kind of caught fire and continue to move forward after winning the World Series a couple years ago. And then you have your Phillies. How would you define the National League East when this division a couple years ago, it looked like nobody wanted to win it and they were just kind of handing it to each other? And now we see, Atlanta being as strong as they have been. And I know you and I were talking about it off the air, that you think the Braves maybe have a lot of hype that they're not going to live up to.
Well, I think the Braves are going to be good for quite a few years. The young talent they got, that they lock up, they're a very well-run organization, probably the best-run organization in baseball, maybe alongside the Astros. They don't overspend for players. They grow from within. That's one way to run a business, and it's a great way to run a business. The other way is what the Mets have done, and they went out and they spent a ton of Cohen's money. And, just because you spend money doesn't mean that you're going to put a championship team on the field. You have to have that team. You can even look at the Padres, right? The Padres spent a ton of money. The Padres made the NLCS last year. The Padres' expectations this year were to go to the World Series, and they didn't make the playoffs. So just because you have money doesn't mean you're going to necessarily win, and you could throw the Yankees into that bucket, the Red Sox, and the Phillies into that bucket. Look what the Phillies spent. Now, the Phillies have a little bit of a cross-pollinating with, they have some homegrown talent in Bohm and Stott. And then they went out and spent some money on some big names, obviously Harper and Castellanos and Schwarber and Real Muto. So I don't know what the right way to do it is. That you could argue anyway. Look at the Orioles this year, right? They're all a bunch of young kids. Yeah. And they won 100 games this year with Rushman and Gunnar. And it's like, I don't know what the right way is. I just know in the NL East, it's a very tough division. It's going to be a very tough division for years to come with Atlanta and what Atlanta does year in, year out. The Marlins they're young, they're hungry. I don't think they're going to go spend money. They may dump a lot of their young studs after this year, next year, but it's going to be fun for a while. I just hope Philadelphia can hang on. I had some lean years rooting for the Phillies, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and when you talk about the Baltimore Orioles here with Danny Thome, the owner of the Wildcat Sports Pub and an avid Phillies fan, as we're inside of the wild card in Major League Baseball, taking a look at the Baltimore Orioles, who you had mentioned, they have the third lowest payroll in baseball in 2023, 71 million when you put it all together. When you see that, because some people say, oh, if you spend the money, then you got to be winning, right? The Yankees, people used to say, oh, they're buying championships, or the guys are going out and getting. The Mets have spent the most money this year, over $343 million. The Yankees are 2 at 279, Padres 256. None of those teams made the postseason. The next two teams are the Rangers, who have spent 251 plus, and your Phillies, who spent over $245 million to have the fifth highest payroll. What does it say about baseball that the three highest payroll teams did not even sniff the postseason, and the Baltimore Orioles are a number one seed, and they have spent the third least amount of money in the entire league?
Yeah, and the Phillies are a 4 seed, and the Rangers were a 6 seed.
Yeah.
So it's not like they were both 1 seeds spending that money. It just says that you don't need to spend money. If you have the right people enroll, it's just like any business. It could be my business, your business, whatever. If you have the right people enroll and you let them do what they need to do, you don't need to spend the $370 million, whatever these numbers are. So my hat's off to the Orioles. I would like to see the Orioles in the World Series. I'd like to see the Phillies obviously play the Orioles. I think that'd be a nice competitive rivalry, being that they're so close to each other. It would be a repeat of the 1983 World Series, which the Phillies lost to the Orioles. So I think there's a lot of value there. The only thing that worries about the Orioles is they are so young. I mean, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe there's no experience there, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they just come out and they steamroll through and they win the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see as we step forward. I want to, before we end this up, Danny, and we get ready for Game 2 of both of our series, your Phillies going to be at home in this next game against the Marlins. If they win, the series is over and belongs to the Phillies. If they lose, there's a Game 3 on Thursday. Same thing for Arizona. Arizona playing on the road in Milwaukee. So I'm gonna throw you a curveball here. I want you to say something nice about my Diamondbacks, and I'll say something nice about your Phillies.
The Diamondbacks, what nice can I? It's not that there's nothing. I don't say anything bad about the Diamondbacks. I mean, there's nothing bad to say. I mean, I don't know a heck of a lot about him. I think Corbin Carroll's going to win the Rookie of the Year. There's a nice thing. I mean, I think he has had a great season. I think he needs to get rid of his mustache, but he's had a great season. There you go. Corbin Carroll will win the Rookie of the Year. And listen, I would like to see the Diamondbacks knock out the Brewers, and I would like to see the Diamondbacks knock out the Dodgers. I would like to see that.
Here's my nice thing about the Phillies that I'll say.
Okay,
One, they have one of my closest and nearest and dearest people in business and out of business as one of their number one fans. So I will say that nice thing about you, Danny. The other thing that I'll say about the Phillies is that I've experienced going and watching the Phillies live in their stadium. And I think you and I were talking about...
Did I know that?
You didn't know that. No, you didn't know that I went out there. So when I was working at ESPN in Pennsylvania, we had a box. We had a luxury box, and I guess the client decided not to take it that day. So we took the Hummer and drove out there to Philadelphia, and we went and sat in the box. Phillies were playing the Mets. It was a really closely contested game, and I think it came down to 5-4. And I will say that the experience of being down there is very different. And these are like Ryan Howard days and Chase and all that. Yeah. So, I mean, being around the team then was a lot of fun. But what I'll say about the Phillies is I feel like if you don't have a dog in the race, they're an easy team to love, because as much as people might be looking at them more so this year than they were last year when they were sneaking up on people, I still think that they're like that underdog and they can be that fan favorite. So what I'll say about the Phillies as an organization, they're fun to watch, they're exciting to watch, and I genuinely hope that they win all the way through to if they play the Diamondbacks, not then, but up until then. But I will say this to you, if your Phillies and my Diamondbacks advance to face off against each other in this year's postseason, can we handshake over the phone that we'll actually make the effort to get out to one of those games?
Yeah, so my plans tentatively are to go down next week to the DS against the Braves. They play Wednesday and third. Well, Wednesday would be Game 3. Now, listen, I'm not trying to put the horse behind the cart or whatever the saying is here. They got to beat the Marlins. We say this all the time in sports, right? You got to take care of the business in front of you.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, they get past the Marlins. My plan is to go down Wednesday. They'd be playing the Braves Wednesday. Now, there may not be a Game 4 if the Braves sweep the Phillies or vice versa. And then if there is a Game 4, I would stay for Game 4 on Thursday. The CS, I don't know. I would say if I go, we can talk. Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
Because
I just don't know. I mean, it's the average ticket price right now in Tampa for the playoff game between the Rays and the Rangers is like $32.
Yeah.
The average ticket price in Philadelphia right now, the average ticket price is $190. So, I mean, the stadium draws 42,000 people, and to your point, they are rabid people. It is. If you're one of them, if you're a fan of that team, it's the greatest place on earth. It's better than Disney World to me. It's better than the Wildcat. It's better than anything. Being in that stadium during a Philadelphia Phillies playoff game is just an experience that I don't know. I loved it last year when I was fortunate enough to be able to do it, and I loved it. I'd love to repeat it this year. But yes, Danny, we can talk. Would you wear Diamondback stuff?
In Philadelphia?
Yeah.
So I feel like
hypothetically, both our teams get that far. Would you wear your Corbin Carroll jersey or your Randy Johnson jersey or whatever you have, and your Diamondbacks hat and everything else? Would you wear all that?
I don't see how I couldn't, but I also know it's the city of brotherly hate. So what I would say, Danny, is because I got your muscle with me, I think I might do it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I love you, but if you wore it and the Diamondbacks won, you're on your own, buddy.
Fair. That's fair enough. I think I've gotten better at my running, so I think I can run pretty fast, faster than drunk people. I would like to hope, since I can run in a straight line, and they said they tend to swerve. But final note here: why should people come out to the Wildcat tonight and throughout the baseball postseason? I know why, but I want to hear it from the owner why they should come out and get themselves a nice seat today for the postseason.
Well, I think we put out a good product. I think the food is very good. I'm not saying that because I own it. I'm sure a lot of people think I'm programmed to say that. Our pizza is very good. We're in the running for Syracuse.com's top 5 pizza places. Our wings, same thing, top 5 running for wings. Our wings are delicious. We're also in the top 5 for best bar in the whole area, which is a huge honor. I mean, whether we win these or not, I don't know. But it's still an honor to be nominated for those 3 things. I think the staff is friendly, engaging, the bar staff, the counter staff. It's a nice environment just to hang out, watch sports, spend time with family, talk, listen to live music. And that's what we've tried to cultivate. And it goes back to the whole team thing. Like, to me, the Phillies are a team. Okay, the Phillies have the it. You watch them play. They're fun to watch. They support each other when they're high. They support each other when they're low. I like to think the Wildcat is the same. I'm not comparing us to the Phillies by any stretch, but the way we try to enable our coworkers and support staff and everything, that's kind of, there's no I, right? We all work together. And if you haven't been there, I would appreciate you checking it out. Seek me out. I'm there a lot. Just ask for Dan. I'd love to talk baseball with you, or I don't know much about football or any other sport, but I can talk baseball with you. So, no, come on out. If you're a Phillies fan, come on out. Last year we had a handful of Phillies fans come out. There's not really a Phillies bar in Syracuse that I know of.
Yeah.
So we actually went out and bought hoodies, Philadelphia Rocktober hoodies for our staff, or Rock October, whatever it says. So those should be delivered this weekend. So let's say they get past the Marlins, all the employees will be wearing Phillies hoodies. That's going to be part of their dress code this weekend.
Yeah, so nice. It must be nice as an owner to be like, hey, this is what you guys have to wear. You can dress down, but this is what you're wearing. I mean,
I am not a dress code person, believe me. I've had my fill of dress codes in other jobs, but but the hoodie thing, and of course they know, the Phillies do well, then Dan's genuinely happier, which is a good thing. So,
Yeah.
you and I wouldn't be talking right now if the Phillies lost last night, right? I mean, I'd be miserable right now. So, it's pretty sad that a sports team can do that to you.
Well, and the thing, I remember one of I forget what it was, but what game it was. But you had your Phillies hat on, which you can tell you've worn for like 100 years, and you had the hat on. You were walking by, shorts on, boots. If you know Danny, he's always in boots, on the beach, boots. And so you walked by the stage, and I said something to you, and I think the Phillies had lost. And the look on your face and the way that you were as you walked by in the boots, I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm just going to let him have a few minutes to himself, and then I'll re-engage. But it was funny because I'm sitting here thinking like, hey, let's talk about our teams tomorrow morning no matter what, right? I'm a glass half full kind of guy. And Danny texts me back and he says, as long as we win, I'll be on the show tomorrow morning. So he had a stipulation, but, get blessings to both teams. They obviously took care of business. The Diamondbacks kept threatening to score runs and got those last couple in to win 6-3. The Phillies were able to handle business and hold on there without too much trouble going up against the Marlins yesterday. The games are going to go on tonight. They're your nightcap, so they'll start at 7 o'clock for the Diamondbacks and shortly after for the Phillies. Hopefully both of our teams can give us the same type of night that we had last night, give us the positivity. And, the more the Phillies keep winning, the more you guys get to hear Danny's sultry voice on Wake Up Call in the morning. So thank you, Mr. Thome, for all you do, and my best to your team and to my team today and throughout. I'm hoping that we can celebrate tonight.
I'm hoping so too. And then, the Braves and the Dodgers would await both of us, which would be interesting matchups.
Absolutely. Well, and back to divisional matchups if they are to happen. So with that being said, Danny Thome, the owner of the Wildcat Sports Pub. Danny, as always, I appreciate it. And you're a perfect segue to the rest of the day because fantasy football is coming up, brought to you by the Wildcat. So shameless plug again for a fantastic place. I'll second you that the pizza, pepperoni, and sausage, I've become like the guy that gets the same thing. And I go to the Wildcat with my buddy Isaac. We get the same pizza, typically on the weekend, pepperoni and sausage, because you guys do it well. So thanks for the work that you do. Shout out to your staff, and I hope that I can sneak in a Diamondbacks sweatshirt because it's also red. So I'm going to see if I can kind of slide one in there at some.
That's deceitful. I like that though. That's good. I like that.
All right, Danny. I look forward to talking with you soon.
All right, man. I'll see you. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
That coming from Danny Thome here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We're going to end this video and start a new one because it is time for fantasy football in focus, and I want to make sure we get to all of your fantasy football content because there's a lot of fantasy football conversation to be had. It's week 5. I can't believe we're already in week 5. So we're going to end this video, start a new video for those on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll end this conversation on Podbean, start a new one as well. So stay with us as we'll be back momentarily.